All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Prince Podcast. We're here live. I am sitting in my lovely bedroom studio on the moon. We're doing our thing, and this is just a live thing. We have rarely done these. So let me tell you off the bat, your boy's a little nervous, a little frantic. I was up to 2 a.m. trying to get everything set up. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. And if you can't, let me know in the chat room and we'll try to fix it as we go. But joining me today, also, we have Big Sexy and Sax. Sir, how are you?
Another Saturday morning trying to dry off, listening to some new music, doing all right.
All right. And we also have Kanisa in the house. How are you?
Doing good, enjoying my Tangelo snack, which is delicious for lunch or
Okay.
snack.
Okay. I don't even know what that is. I'm going to just say, yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. Play along. Um, so listen, we are here, and shout out to other people in the chat room. We definitely can see you, and we appreciate y'all for coming through today. We're gonna keep things light today. We got a few things that we're gonna be doing soon, coming up for Celebration Week in April. So as you can see on the screen, hopefully you can see that we're going to have a listener meet and greet on April the 19th. That's a Thursday. Starts at 11 o'clock, goes till 3 p.m. It's going to be at the People's Organic in Eden Prairie. So please, this is it's not going to be a podcast. Let me be clear, as I kind of been hearing people talking about, oh, you guys gonna be doing like a live show. It's not gonna be a live show per se. Will there probably be some live streaming going on? Most likely, but this is just gonna be for us to get together, break bread, say thank you to our listeners. Listeners be able to thank some of our guests. We have Kim Berry's coming through, Dave Hampton, Scotty Baldwin. A lot of people that you have heard on this podcast will be there. I believe OG Chaz is going to come through. So it's just going to be a real cool event. And we're just going to, just good people chilling out. We're going to be eating, relaxing, seeing each other face to face. Get away from that. The internet part was just everybody hiding behind the keyboard. So we're going to all be able to just come together as grown folks. There ain't gonna be no pull-ups or nothing going on there, but it's just gonna be a fun time. So if you are able, you should come on through. It's free. The only thing that we ask is if we come to the business, they letting us have our event there. Is buy something to eat or something or get a drink or what have you. But it's just gonna be a lot of cool people. So with that said, anybody in the chat room, I'm curious, are any of you guys going to the celebration this year? And if you are you track one or track two? That's the other question. Um, and while we're doing that, Kanisa, now I know you're going as well. Big Sexy. I know you're a
I
busy man.
I'm in trial starting on the 16th.
Okay.
So I will probably miss it. But if for some reason this guy, takes his medicine on day one, I can't get a plane. You ain't said nothing there.
All
But
right.
as of right now, I got opening arguments on the 16th, and this trial may last, the entire week.
Well, that's what's up. But if you can, man, definitely at least that Thursday, yeah, stop
I'm
through.
even come out for Thursday morning. If
Yeah,
I like fly out for the day, just pop into the vegan hangout, be organic, man.
I know,
And
right?
then
Cause,
hang out.
cause listen, I'm not even gonna front. I'm pork, all that old ridiculous stuff. I'm weaning myself off of that. But so
I'm
I'm
not.
not trying to front like I'm Mr. Healthy here, but I'm trying to. So definitely. So we got a few people say, yeah, they're gonna be there. If you can, you should come through. Now I will say this: there's going to be a ton of events going on that week, and so there's other opportunities to catch up with people and say what's up. Kanisa, do you have some of these other events that's coming up?
Yeah, there's so many. Of course, there's a Prince in Minneapolis conference at University of Minnesota.
That's right.
That's all week or most of the first part of the week. And then there are a lot of parties. So, Prince Legacy Tours at Capri Theater. Check out that website so you can go and see things that happen there. The Baby Your Star Party, that's Monday from the folks out in San Francisco, Alfonso Stars, heading that up. Party time at Bunkers, Tuesday, April 17th.
Mm.
Purple Funkadelics having a meet and greet before the Glutes party for Five and Dime right after.
Oh, I'm gonna be at
Tuesday.
that one, I believe. Oh wait, the one at the 5 and I'm sorry. Continue. I'm tripping. Go ahead.
Night Tate's having a belly dance class on
What?
Wednesday and Thursday as well. So check
Hey
that
now.
out. I think the Wednesday one is sold out though. New one that was announced recently, Remembering Prince with author Andrea Swenson. That's on Wednesday, April 18th. Course R meet and greet Thursday, People's Organic. And then we have Celebration, of course, 19th through the 22nd at Paisley Park. And Purple Underground's having a skate party. And if you haven't seen that flyer, which is like a gangster glam, it's pretty amazing. That's Thursday, April 19th at noon to 2. Morris Mills is having an event Friday the 20th. Gail Chapman will be at that one as well. He's a big Purple fan, really good. Liv Warfield is at the Dakota on Friday. She's doing 2 shows there at 7:30 and at 11, I believe. And the second one has special guests as well, so definitely check that out. Me and Mike will be there. There's a candlelight vigil on the 20th, 11:45 p.m. That'll be at Lake Ann Park, and I believe that the Minnesota mayor will be there too. Check Purple Funkadelics for more information about that. Prince 365 late night pancakes meet and greet. Rodney put that together. I'm not sure if that's still open. I think he said maybe there might be a couple more tickets, maybe, but that'll be at Perkins.
Just bum rush the place. Just go in there.
April 21st, 9 to 11, there's In Memory of Prince volunteer outreach. I think Sarah Savoy helped with that. So definitely check that one out. For the more experimental people, there's a Prince drag brunch, April 21st. I saw videos of this on Instagram. They are pretty amazing, actually.
Okay, Q Storm. I'm sure he'll be there.
Wow. Here we go. Slander.
Anyway, there's a pub crawl from noon to 10 p.m. on Saturday the 21st. So that's interesting. A Prince family dance party, 21st, also at Elixir Brewing Company, noon to 2. Prince live on the big screen, Target Center, 8 to 11 p.m. Tickets for that are still open. I saw people complaining about the prices for that, but I think there's still some that are like $39 if you want to check that out.
What are the prices for that? I'm just curious.
It's like $39. I think there's some in the 60s. I think VIPs like 100 something. I can't imagine what that would be, but I think it will still be interesting. And then Catty Corner. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're a Prince fan and you're in town, then I would assume you're already going to that. If you're going to the celebration, because it's included, right? But for people, I guess, that are not, it would seem interesting for somebody to travel. Well, let me not say that, because I did that last year. I didn't go to the celebration. I was outside parking lot pimping the whole time. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, and then Catty Corner to that is the Erotic City party at First Avenue. Those tickets are $12 in advance, $15 at the show. So I guess that'll be the after party. And then the next morning at First Avenue is a Baby Your Star kids dance party. They did this last year, so it had like little crafts and stuff and kids and Prince-friendly songs for them to dance to. It was really cute. And then the NPG Music Club Rebirth Meet and Greet, Sunday, April 22nd from 2 to 5 at Houlihan's. And if you want more information about any of these, I'm going to drop a link in the chat, but it's on the People of Paisley Park website.
All right, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. To me, like the celebration thing at this point, I just kind of look at it as like a Comic-Con for Prince fans. Even if you don't go to like the official celebration events and that thing, there's so much other community stuff going on that you can have a great time. And if you haven't gone to Minneapolis, during some sort of Prince thing, I gotta tell you, the city really shows out for Prince. The fans really just show out, and it's just a real cool vibe. People are just really nice. You have to experience it, and particularly if you go to something where they're just like playing his music, like that Shockadelica thing that she mentioned. man, that's dope because they just playing like rare stuff, the hits, B-sides, all that. But it's just you could tell like it's like fans are really appreciating it, and the DJ just like you ain't got to question the music, and it was just dope. So I think they're sold out this year, but I think they're gonna open it back up. But just things like that are gonna be a good time. Again, we do have our meet and greet. I'm gonna be at a couple of different things as well. The Perkins thing. Paisley Five and Dimes party, which is I think Wednesday. I'll be at that as well, and then the Live Warfield, and I'm gonna be on track 2 at the celebration. Now I know there's few people that are on track 1 who are not gonna be able to make the meet and greet, and I do apologize about that. It was hard trying to figure out a time when to do it without it conflicting with anything else. But I will say, like I said, there's so many things going on that weekend, so everyone will have a chance to hook up and say hello and take pictures and meet people. So it's going to be a good thing. I really wanted to go to our people in the chat room. I see questions and things. I'm trying to look at this and look at this. So excuse me. But let me say this first before I get to that. I want to thank all you guys that are here in the stream and have been listening to the podcast, whether it's on through iTunes or the website or YouTube. This show would not even be happening if you guys wasn't checking it out. So I would definitely want you to know that I appreciate everybody who listens to the show, all the comments, everything is very much appreciated. And for me, I'm a fan as well. So, my thing is I'm doing this because if there was somebody else doing the podcast, these are the things I would want them to ask or to try and, hear certain people talk and different things. So that's why, we do the show. And that's why we'll continue to do the show. With that also said, I wanted to ask the people out there, what's like been some of your favorite episodes of the podcast, interviews or whatever. Very curious about that. And let me jump over to there. Big Sexy, are you able to see the questions on the screen?
Yes, I can. I can see them. See them all. In fact, I see people commenting. Chloe Calvin is commenting on the kids' dance party, which does sound cute.
What's up, Chloe?
Actually, but I got a direct email about favorite episode saying, "Hey, what about the time that Big Ken and Big Sexy took over the airwaves? That was a favorite one."
Hilarious. Yeah, I need to. I need to see the receipts on that. ASAP.
One thing, I don't know if this is the proper venue, but I did see last night that Dwayne Tudal is doing a book signing on the 25th in Oakland at a place called the Legionnaire, 22nd and Telegraph downtown. I'm going to that. I got to go check Dwayne out. So definitely, people who have his book, come check him out. I will be there, popping in, saying hi, saying hi to the guy, and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Yes, right, Dwayne. I'm bogarting your book signing.
Here you go. So I see a few people saying they like the Eric Leeds interview. Man, the Eric Leeds one, that was one of my dream ones to get with Eric. And so that was one where you really just like give him space to like tell stories, because he and his brother Allin, exceptional, storytellers. And Eric, he mentioned he had notes from all those years, so he was able to really like go in and man, that was an awesome one. I was like in heaven when we recorded that. Man, it's crazy. Let's see, people like the Chaz, Susan Rogers, Chaz. Yeah, Susan Rogers, another one where it's just like, man, it's school time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let the teacher talk. Somebody who was actually in the studio when it was going down. You didn't have to, speculating in terms of what was recorded. But, she did her thing. So definitely a shout out to Susan. Got a chance to meet her in person during the PRN alumni thing. Actually, was she on my panel? Yeah, she was on the panel that I did.
Oh, come on,
but I'm tripping. But no, I mean, she's just like, she's mad cool people, man. Really, really cool. Good person. Shout out to Chaz as well. That was a really good interview. For all our Patreon people, you heard a whole another hour in that conversation that we didn't put on the YouTube. And the Chaz one was that was a a very real, I don't want to say it was a real one, but it was definitely an interesting uh, conversation. And, I had to let some other people hear that first before I put it out. And I only say that because, you know, through doing this, you do sort of make relationships with people. And I just wanted to be clear that, it was all respectful and, everyone should be able to tell their side of the story and their truth. And I also want to make sure that people that I'm not trying to do like gotcha podcasts or gotcha, oh, let me trip you up and it's the same type of stuff we would say if we was face to face. Is how we do the podcast. So
Exactly.
So yeah, shout out to Chaz for coming on and for keeping it honest. And yeah, we'll definitely see him in Minneapolis as well in April. So definitely shout out to him. Scotty Baldwin. I see people saying Scotty Baldwin. Yes, Scotty. Man, Scotty is like he is like so analytical, if I can say. When you actually sit down and talk with him, he's like he just really like knows how to just dig in and go deep and to break something down, and he's a listener too. So yeah, shout out to Scotty. I believe I met Scotty's wife in Minneapolis as well the last time I was there. And I will say this right now, Scotty and Dave Hampton, those are my guys, man. Those guys sort of took me under their wing and made a lot of stuff available for the podcast and said, well, do your thing. Let's see. They did a little some good co-signing and mentorship with me, and I really respect that. So definitely shout out to that. I see. I'm trying to look at the screen and talking, so excuse me. I'm not used to the live thing, but I am paying attention. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's see. Devin, what's up, Devin? She said, yes, Susan, love her stories.
Did you see this? JT saying Maserati and tomorrow. Let's see if we can work that out.
Man, I would love to get Maserati tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, well, hopefully that happens, man. Trying to think, like some of the other. There's a lot of people we still have yet to talk to. I'm trying to think on top of my head who would be my absolute person. Jesse Johnson. Like I'm a major Jesse Horns. So I love me some Jesse Johnson, and I think he's been around for a very long time. Obviously, he was been there from the '80s through this whole thing. It was kind of a little rivalry at one time, but Jesse, man, he would be a cold cat. Don't let me get Jesse on the show. Of course, I see Edward said Wendy and Lisa. Of course, yes, got a chance to meet them last year, and yeah, Wendy ready. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that going. I had a nice long conversation with her in person, but yeah, they have to come on the show. It ain't even no question. And we've been kind of, we can do it here, and then it's just a matter of getting schedules and things together. But that will definitely happen. We're gonna keep speaking that into existence. We see, yeah, Jesse. I wish you could get Tevin Camp. Can we talk for a minute? Tevin Campbell, man. Tevin was a cold piece of work back then. I mean, you can't front on that. It was something about Tevin. It's nothing new, and I'm just kind of rambling here. But we we'll engaged a conversation with Michael Bland on Facebook, right? And I was asking him about Prince doing. He was doing Salt and Pepper covers. Anyone, obviously, Prince fans remember the Beautiful Experience performance. I think it was February 14th. It was in 1984, I want to say. 94, excuse me. 94, I'm tripping. And it was NBA All-Star. But during that show, they do, at the end, I think they do None of Your Business.
Yep.
And I've seen other performances where they, Prince rapped over Shoop. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, man, what was that whole thing about? Why was Prince doing Salt and Pepper songs? And that conversation led to, He also, of course, did. God, my brain is what's the Tevin song again? I'm tripping.
Can we talk?
10 week, yeah. No.
It's
Shh.
I'm hard to say.
Shh. Here's my
break it
Prince fan card. We'll rip it. Okay. But of course, they wanted Tevin to come on stage and do that song, but Tevin didn't get up there. I guess, and this is the thing. Michael Bland said Tevin wanted to sing "Can We Talk" instead, which I think is interesting. I mean, that was a big hit at the time, but that was Babyface's song. Prince said, who wrote that? We're gonna do our shit, right? And of course, Prince ended up jacking that song. Like that was, forget about it. Like that. I remember when that dropped, man, that was crazy, and I was like, what? And the guitar solo. I remember they were saying some radio stations was even playing that afterwards. Like it was, he tore it down like that. So, but it would have been interesting if Tevin had got up there. And apparently Salt and Pepper was in the building as well, and that was why Prince was doing those songs. He wanted them to get up there and join him, which would have been very interesting as well. So yeah, man, that's and I just kind of went on that tangent. But yes, Maserati would be dope. Jesse Johnson tomorrow. Wendy and Lisa. Man, Tony M. I would love to talk to Tony M, and we will. Morris Hayes. Now, some of these guys have done interviews out there before, but they ain't came into here and did them. So that's what I'm talking about. Who else?
I did want to mention,
Go ahead.
Jason Noonan mentioned earlier that Donna Grantis will be at the Dakota on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. You
might want to check him out.
That'd be dope. Yeah. Okay. Let's I want you guys you know what? Here's the thing. We're gonna bring in a guest in a second. Let me get that situated. But as I'm doing that, there was a new bootleg that dropped recently, right? I think it was Lakeland 1984 rehearsal. You got a chance to hear a little bit of that, Big Sexy, right?
Yes, I did.
Any thoughts, sir?
Again, it reminds me of, you said that this was Lakeland. This reminds me a little bit of the Orange Bowl show from '85, where they're warming up, and he's walking the band through their paces, keep up here and change that there. And it's really interesting to watch that part of a show come together, because a lot of fans, myself included, you would think you just walk out and they can play and hit all these cues and all that. No, they have to practice and work, up at the warehouse up there in Edina back in the day. Put in 8 hours, got to do this. Remember what Jimmy Jam would say? He'd say, look, he'd come and do our rehearsal, then go do his rehearsal and make sure everybody was on point. So that's what you heard. I have not gotten through all of it yet, but from what I'm hearing, I'm really digging the construction of music being done like this.
Yeah, I did like to listen to most of it. It's kind of like he has an octopus with all these arms, and he's just telling people, hey, do this differently, play this, and he's copied himself among the whole band, really. Oh, and then his side remarks like, oh, for that person who didn't play his sax solo, that should have been playing his sax solo. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Prince.
The Susan Rogers story when Jimmy Jam was on, and Jimmy was imitating Prince. He would say, "Jimmy Jam, what do it with your right hand?" I'm just playing the chords. Well, you should be doing the steps too. Okay. Prince was he'd run the band. Put that down.
And shout out to Eve Adams, said chiming in late, but love the Jill Jones interview. Yeah, Jill Jones, man. Shout out to Jill Jones. She's back home.
So how's she doing, man?
I haven't gotten a chance to talk to her, but I see when I see Jill back online and she's tweeting, and Jill, she be not tweeting, but on Facebook, and she be getting into getting it on there. Then I know she's doing better. So shout out, shout out to Jill.
Back, man.
Yeah, we love Jill Jones for real. Definitely helped out this show a lot. Let me bring in Mr. Dave Hampton. It's a former technical advisor, specialist over there at Paisley Park and friend of the show. We want to bring him on as a guest. So let me finagle my thing and get him going. Let's see if he'll jump on. And as we do that, shout out to everybody in the chat coming on. Shout out to all our streamers. So yeah,
Man.
What's up, Dave? How are you?
I'm all right, man. Can you hear me clear?
Yeah, we got you blasting out on the internet right now. So anything you say can and will be used against you.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So man, how you doing, man?
Blasting out. I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm just here in Los Angeles, doing my thing.
Okay.
Driving around my daughter and her best friend and having a good Saturday.
Oh, you on that daddy duty, daddy time.
That's daddy duty all the time.
That's right. Say that. Well, listen, man. I wanted to bring you on. We got people here listening. They'll be listening to this later. But I know that we had a conversation, and you had a really interesting question that you wanted to ask and put out there, and I thought maybe a good opportunity to get it in front of some of the fans and let them mull over that, and maybe even give us some feedback right now. So if you don't mind, man, what was some of your thoughts or what you wanted to ask and figure out about?
Well, we talk about a lot, and we get deep sometimes, and we get shallow at other times. But overall, we've been just kind of keeping the temperature and kind of understanding what's going on. We're about 2 years removed from Prince's absence, and as we've kind of witnessed all the happenings going on and the books and everything else, my concern, like many of us, is just where's it all going to settle down, and kind of what is it going to start to look like in several different aspects. But I think overall for me, because I have written other books, I do get a lot of questions for people saying, when you going to write a book? Are you going to write a book? And things like that. And I don't really feel led to do that right now, but since talking to you and having more contact with the fan community, my thing and idea that I kind of offered up is like, let's talk to everybody and see what they want to hear about, because number one, I have a limited range of what I can talk about. Number two, I don't want to do something if it's not a purpose. And I think there's a lot of books that everybody's doing, and they're for whatever reason, and I think they're all good. But I think those of us who kind of spent time there in the pit doing whatever our responsibility was, we kind of take a little bit more time to think about how we want to share those moments. Because in many cases, I don't know about everybody else, but in many cases, like for myself and others, those are our moments. And we know the minute they're shared, they are also going to be taken and used in a variety of ways to, for other people's use and dispensation, But I just wanted to kind of get a line on what the community wanted to hear, if they want to hear anything. And some of them might not want to hear anything. Some of them might say, you know what, let's just keep on doing what we're doing. We have very good coverage that we're able to do with the PRN alumni and the activities that we do. And so that has really helped a lot of us use our energy wisely, I feel, to help kind of lay some fencing around an area that has not been kind of clearly established, which is how we're going to, honor what he was about in life. And we some of us were privy to the responsibility of the giving of gifts and service outside of music and songs. So I think it's, I think while that's good for us as PRN alumni, I think it's good for all of us to come together and communicate and figure out what everybody else wants as well. Now I'm not, and again, I'm not, Billy book writer who's going to sit here and write everything that's going to please everybody. But I think it would sure be nice if everybody got a chance to chime in and say what they'd like to hear, or if or what they like to see, or it doesn't even have to be a book. You know, a book is very confining. You know, I think sometimes that's why when we get to these times of the anniversary experience, it's very filling when you can be somewhere and be with everybody, because for that minute where we're able to reflect or do whatever, it brings everything to life. You know, when I went to the last event, it was the first time I was there with a lot of my brothers and sisters from a lot of different eras, and for all of us, it made him real and alive for us. For the times we all, as collectively and individually, didn't have to say goodbye, as we reminisced about him, it made it very real for us. So I can imagine what it did for us. It does the same thing for the fans. And I just wanted to say, hey, well, you know, everybody always wants to hear something, but rather than let's be in question about it, let's do what we used to do, you know, when he was alive, and let's talk about what it is that somebody wants to do and go in that direction, rather than, you know, necessarily spoon feeding them whatever anybody comes up with loosely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know.
It's only fair. I think it's only fair. You know, that's you know.
Well, I can see, you know, some of the things that I see, some people are saying in the chat, you know, I think there's still a lot of fans asking the question, what happened?
Right.
You know, I think that's one that I think a lot of fans still sort of wrestle with, and maybe I don't know if they just want somebody to say, this is exactly, you know, how we see this thing happened, or here's what happened. But I do see that conversations sort of bubble up a lot.
Right.
You know.
Right. I think that TMZ fueled rage, as it were, and you know, maybe that's wrong of me to say that, but I think the methods that we've been watching unfold with the use of media in this whole instance has been really kind of retarded, and it's very divisive and very intentional. You know, I think we talked about it one other time. You know, it's very hard to keep moving forward if we're constantly trying to play a giant game of Clue to see who did it in the kitchen with a candlestick, right? It's not important. You know, what's really important now is kind of the other side of it, where we all resolve to be better at who we are for whatever he meant to us, and keep moving. Yeah, we would all like to know what happened. I would too, as much as you would and everybody else. But after that, what comes of it? You know, every time you go down that hole, so many bad feelings are woken up, and everybody can't be a mini detective. You know, we could all have our supposition and say, oh, you know. And the minute you say something, you know, even for us talking about it, somebody's going to have something wise to say on a comment. Oh, why they have to go talk about that? You know, and so you can't please everybody. But the bottom line is, you know, we're 2 years removed from this. We have to collectively and individually get to a place where we can be who we're supposed to be and about this situation, and figure out what's the best take on it. You know, what would he do? What would he do? You know, he would keep it moving. You know, he would keep it moving. As rough as it is to say, because, you know, all of us in the back of our minds and our hearts, we all want justice. You know, I stay to watch the end of the movie because I want to see the bad guy get it, right?
Yeah, let me just jump in with some of the comments
too. Not a bad guy. Yeah, sometimes it's not a bad guy. Sometimes it's a collection of bad decisions.
True.
You know, and you know, you gotta look at it very honestly. But go ahead.
Yeah, just want to read some of these. Latrice said, "We just never got closure, and that's where the anger, confusion, sadness, and fire comes from. We are hurt." GM Revolution TV. So personally, I don't think it was conspiracy, and more than likely, no one is to blame. The people that love him just want to know truth. And I think, you know, I think that's the thing as fans. I think sometimes that part of closure, I think from as a Prince thing, you're right, he would just keep it moving. And I guess we have to wrestle with that sort of Prince always kept moving forward and didn't have to answer these questions, but he would give us something to like, you don't need to worry about that. Here's the new thing. But I guess without that new thing happening, it's sort of like, we don't have that thing, you know?
Right. He would have dropped an album on us.
Exactly.
Or something, yeah. No, I get you. And it's very true. And I agree with all those sentiments. Yes, it hurt. Yes, we all felt a sense of no closure at all, just abruptness. And it just shocked you to the point where you just were numb, you know. And so I fully agree with what that comment is, you know. I think again, part of my comments come from having spent a brief amount of time with him during the period I did, which was a different Prince than maybe some people from earlier generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an older Prince, more learned Prince about himself and about the world and about what he wanted to do, and as far as at that point, you know, what he was about. And I just think that you know, it's I don't see anything good coming from it. I mean, I think a lot of what happens now, even though we're 2 years removed, sometimes there's a lot of hesitation on the part of many people to even talk like you and I talk, and I talk to the other, you know, Scotty and I talk to you and talk to Dr. Funk, and very, you know, we very frank with our thoughts. We're not confused and we don't hold back, but I think there's a large contingent of people that feels that probably is silent and doesn't want to say anything any kind of way because they feel if they do, they'd be in the bad graces of the family. And I don't know. I never really cared about that. Not that they're not decent people. They're just they are who they are, and you know, I just feel a different way about it. I just feel like I can't. If I was around him and I picked up anything, it was to not hold back what I feel is the right thing to say or do. So I'm not going to sit there and try and get in the butt kiss line because I go, oh, well, maybe they're going to do something. Well, maybe I better not say that, so then they'll include me. I don't really care if I wasn't meant to go any further than Paisley, my career would have stopped there, and frankly, I would never have gotten there. But obviously, the time that we all were meant to get there for each of us was the time we were meant to get there. The time we were meant to spend was very succinctly for us as individuals, as well as for him collectively to benefit from, you know. And so I don't feel bad about sometimes doing the interviews and saying some of the things. I just am very measured in what I say so that we don't unnecessarily go over stuff that just, you know, creates that scab again.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very serious when I say at a certain point we all have to grow up about the dialogue around it. You know, if we read and you guys got to look at when they post these articles. Some people post articles from 2016, 2017, and other things, and then they reread it like it's gospel, and then, you know, you've got a myriad of court cases going on, so then you've got, you know, courts deciding decisions one way or another, but then you got probably law firms applying pressure and having ads run and having articles rerun so that people get the impression like this is the status of things, and it's so confusing because we have such a devious thread that runs through all this.
Well, yeah. Well, let me jump in and say this.
It's very plain to see, you know.
Right. Yeah, here's the thing, what you just said, and here's how it sort of manifests itself. Because I was talking to my mom the other day, and she knows I like Prince, and I don't think she knows the magnitude of what I'm into it. But she was like, "Oh yeah, I heard Prince family suing the bank. They want their money back." I was like, "What are you talking?" I said, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. So yeah, they suing them. You know, I was like, inside. That's how it gets out there, you know.
And you know what? Trial by press is what in public opinion is what a lot of people they want to create the fervor because they know that will create the flood of everybody's, attention and focus, and it sends everybody into a rage and all of it. But at the end of the day, like I always say, the end result of everything that happens with all of this is based on the collectiveness that his family established. So whatever they decide to do, in whatever form they decide to do it, it is indeed their decision. At the point where they're at now, they probably still are trying to get a hold of just what it is they're dealing with and get a hold of just what it is the plan is. Hopefully they have all gotten in the same room and had a come to Jesus meeting, as it was, to just be at peace with one another and move on through this and have some great things happen in the future for his benefit of his memory, and for what it could do for the new creatives that are coming around and trying to have careers and wonder who is this person that people are still referencing. Even when people win awards now, they still reference him and what he did for the freedom of artistic expression. So you cannot move forward unless you kind of wrap up some of this business. But a large part of it is on his family to do, and that's not my job. That's not anybody's job. It's their job. And the best thing we can do is pray for them. If there's not going to be a conversation, the only thing you can do is pray for people and hope that they make the best decision possible, and they get good people around them. They get a circle of responsible individuals and people around them that aren't going to take advantage and rip them off and cause them to be divided. I think that's the most we can do as outsiders. And then the other part of it, as I say, that's why I think as the alumni we try and do what we can do, because we understand that role very well. And so we the one thing we all know, and that's what's so great about being part of the alumni. And I think the fans are just as much part of the alumni as the alumni, because the one thing is that overall, whatever you're going to do, you better handle it. You better handle it. And so all of us handle the alumni stuff just as if he were alive. We don't for 1 minute try and act like anything else. And so we're making phone calls, we're doing things, we're trying to make every time something happens for it to be special, because we know what that was about in life. So if that's what we have control over and we have the ability to do, that's what we're going to do. And so, it's not even a small feature to doing that. I think, if you have another interview with Craig and Jackie and everybody who, kind of put the core idea together, you will understand what it truly takes to do something like this, so that there is no interference from anybody, because there is no bad intent from it. Our intention is purely good and purely for the sake of trying to get together, because you know what, we all felt that emptiness and said, this is not a way that we want to see this go. So we have to do something that we can do that has meaning enough so that we don't have to wait in a line for somebody to decree this as the right or wrong thing to do. And again, that attitude that I just said is, if you spend any time working with him, you don't. I don't wait for approval from some group or person. That's the one freedom that I think, even at age 44 when I went there, as much as I've been through and as much success I had in my career, I think he gave me the ability to totally just feel okay about not needing approval from anyone. And if you understand half of what I'm saying, as you always like to say, Michael, keeping it cold, right? As a black man doing what I was doing.
There we go.
And you will understand what I mean when I say
I hear you.
You know.
All right, Dave. I just want to make sure we give the people another opportunity to get back to that question as well, because we got a lot of people chiming in here on the screen. But again, just out to the listeners, and shout out.
Are they mad?
Oh no, not at all. No, they do their own thing as well. But I just want to make sure I acknowledge them.
Okay.
Shout out to everybody. We see you, you guys typing in there. I see England coming through, different parts of the world, and everybody. So definitely paying attention. But one of the things Dave also is asking too is how would you, at this point, what if there was a book, or it could be something else, but if it was a book with everything that's been said and done, what would you guys want a book to cover or be about in regards to Prince?
If I could jump in,
Sure, go right
I
ahead.
have lots of questions because there's never really a lot of books or information about like post 2002 and forward. Obviously, that was a transitional time, like the One Night Alone period, and then into musicology, where it became very much in the public eye again. Like, what was happening around that
Right.
time and later, and why did he shift to be like that versus how he was for the previous 15 years?
That's good. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, sorry, this is Ganisa, Darling Nisi.
Hi, darling niece. This is Dave. Yeah, that's a very good question, and one of the reasons why I asked, and Michael and I talk about this all the time, is because after it's all said and done, when we all sit in a circle and we review our timelines and what's going on, myself and my team were there at what is now the front end of the last creative blast of his life. You know what I mean? And so when I met him in 2003, everything had pretty much ground to a very slow, not halt, but he was not working inside of Paisley a lot. He was working at a studio called Metalworks in Canada, and he was working at various other studios in other cities, spending time in those other cities. The staff of Paisley Park had whittled down to maybe one crucial person who I've always stated was Rick Peltzman. And he was like the key guy that was there. And then I think probably the only other one was, Prince travel with Takumi and, maybe his wife Manuela. There were other folks that were around when things needed to happen, but for the most part, that was the core thing. And then as things started to build from 2003 on, when we had a whole nother team step in, and then I got a chance to work with Ruth, and that was really great because she was his assistant, but she was more than that because Ruth was coming from a film background, a background where I think she worked for a motion picture executive, so she was more than familiar with the same type of pace that this was. So for me to integrate what I needed to do with her when they were going to come into Paisley was a pleasure because I was talking to somebody who, we could again have these almost instinctive conversations where it wasn't about stepping on toes. It was about how long you guys got here, what do you need, boom, 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 and it was just about creating this syncopation of service. Sometimes you don't have time to have these discussions to see whether or not everybody's going to get along. Sometimes you just get along and it gels, and that's the kind of thing it was. That was about she was really on top of it. That's one person I really feel through at least my time there. We had a really good kindred understanding of what each of us was facing when we were not together in the same building. So we had a good idea of what pressures we had, right? And sometimes that's a good thing to have. Is somebody who they carry just as much on their side when they're mobile, because she went around with him everywhere. She was the one that picked a lot of the houses that they had and prepped a lot of the parties and a lot of that. A lot of that was her thing, and she had a team of people as well. So I just I think that there's not a lot written because that time was it was in motion. It was everything that we were doing back there to rebuild and start to set Paisley to working again and create this new place to create for what he was going to do. And it was also about integrating what we were doing there as engineers with the current product that was in development, which at that time was Musicology Tour. So, it would be very. If we did do something like that, it would be a very large story with many people telling it, because you have Scotty, you have myself, there's a lot of people in a lot of different layers in order to make things run cohesively for that thing, aside from everybody else as well. There's so many people, and you can say this for every era, but yeah, there is not a lot written about it because, again, the business had changed. I think I was talking to Dwayne Tudall, who wrote the book that's out now about the Paisley Park sessions, right? And so part of his thing, he did the research was to get the invoices from the studio where Purple Rain was done. Well, the business had changed from a PO system to all-in budgets to what it was when people like Prince owned their own facilities. So the documentation of what has gone on, a lot of times had changed. Even though when I came, we re-implement the documentation. I don't know whether or not everybody continued to follow it, but we re-implemented traditional record keeping and traditional archival methods when we were there, and fired everything back up. But part of what I was explaining to Dwayne was that the majority of the entertainment business had changed in the way that they track the monetary activity. See, back in the original days, when you did a record, you had a PO number attached, and that number went on every invoice and everything that got paid in reference to that album, that song. And then we went to what's called all-in budgets, where the producer was given all the money, and then the producer had to turn in a master at the end of creating whatever he created. And then we went into all these special deals. So by the time you get to Prince and the Status Season, you're dealing with larger deals that deal with multiple things, that deal with larger amounts of money. So you're no longer on a PO thing where you can go down to the daily granular thing of what happened, because there was so much happening. Well, what happened where? Because we were here working on this, and he was flying in from doing that, and then he's going to get here for 3 hours and then go back to do that. So there's a lot of that goes on, and it's just different. But I think it'd be a healthy thing to look at that as well. I mean, does that give you kind of an idea of why it's kind of different? Because again, you got to remember the early days of Paisley, you had over 125, 150 people on payroll.
Wow.
Right? That's a lot of human beings. It's a lot of people in motion. Our team was 6 people in the recording side. And so then you count Christina on film side, you count the office people, that's another 2, 3, 4. And then you count Rick and his staff, that's another 2 or 3. And some of those guys are floaters. So, it really wasn't that large. It really never got to those numbers again. So, and that's part of what the evolution of technology does. It allows you to take something as big as Paisley and now update it and outfit it so that it does not require so much.
All right. Yeah, Dave, you break them down so there's not even left to even be discussed. You just very thorough.
No, I don't want to. And if it ever seems like I'm talking over you guys' heads,
no, you're good.
Because I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be honest in my assessment. Because if I make a comment somewhere else to point out the ridiculousness of something I see now, I want you to have a reference.
No, I feel you. I'm just messing with you. But wanted to throw in too, somebody in the chat room, it went past me, so I don't have their name, but they reminded me that Prince himself was writing a memoir before his passing. And the reports were that he had finished up to 50 pages of this, and the book was tentatively called The Beautiful Ones. It was supposed to come out in 2017 on Random House. And I don't think we've heard much about that project yet. I don't know if they still plan to put those pages out, but it'd be very interesting to see what it was that he wrote and was talking about, and it'd be from his own words. Yeah, so That'd be...
would, and it would be even better if we could know that it was really what was happening. I think what happens, right now in the world of a situation like this is that you still have a lot of factions who are trying to figure out how to continue to tell a story or how to tell a story that is convenient to the result that they want. In life, you could never determine the result you wanted from being in orbit or being connected to anything around Prince, because all say was his, and he was the final result. He was the yay or nay. In his leaving us, it leaves a big hole. So a lot of times, you just have to sit back and watch everybody and how they play in the sandbox. Because it's very interesting to watch who's saying what, how they're saying it, and why they're putting focus on this and why they're not putting focus on that. And it's just all of it is a very careful game of chess, unfortunately.
Right.
And we have to be honest when we assess that. Am I saying that? But and I don't want anybody to write in, because I've read some of these comments that people write sometimes and go, "Oh, he's just bitter because he's not there." I got enough to do. I got clients. I'm doing well.
Tell him, Dave.
I don't need that, so you can save those words. My concern is, and every time I say something to the effect of, "Hey, just slow down and watch what everybody does. Watch who everybody is." It's the same thing I would say in life. I'm just an older person. I've been on this planet a little while. I've seen a lot. Okay? And so I'm not for 1 minute gonna put it above or below anybody to sit up there and try and orchestrate who picks up and starts being the official storyteller on any way. And again, that's why I question everybody. I look at everybody for what everything is. All information is very good. It doesn't mean that it's 100% authentic. It means all information is good. It's good to have a lot of information. Okay? Period.
All right.
So at a certain point, though, we have to be careful about this thing of validating. And, we're validating things and people and all these things when in fact, like I said, when I can go on a tour and other people can go on a tour, and we've all worked in Paisley or done something in Paisley, and we have somebody tell us other than what we knew, it's real suspect, and it doesn't make me look at anything else that emanates from some of these places as 100% fact checked, and it's not because we changed our name or we're in government witness protection program. We're fully available and ready to be talked to and asked, and but it sometimes it's more convenient for people to tell their truth as opposed to the truth.
Well, what people are you talking about, Dave?
I'm talking about everybody in general, as far as powers that be. We have a music publishing thing that's still in the wind. We have a museum that's still, establishing itself. And this isn't poo-pooing on the museum. This is just factualizing. If I hadn't been there and others hadn't been there and the similar things that happened, then we would say, "Hey, man, this is great." And I still encourage people to go to the museum and go to everything and check it out, because I want you to see that this place existed and this person was special. You need to do that. You need to do that, so at the very least you bring a light to his music or whatever you can bring to it for the next generation. They got to be able to have this as a reference, right?
Right, and I feel you on that.
So in any way, shape, or form, even on a greed level, I'm supporting something that isn't even quite dispensing the right information, because I just want to make sure they have the name burned into their skull, right? But at a certain point, I would like to see it refine itself and get better at delivering what is known to many as the truth. And so, that's all you can hope for, But again, it's, this is, the they can be any they who has, misled intentions, anybody who's trying to control some shit. And at the end of the day, whatever's going to happen with the contents of the vault and all that stuff, that's a whole separate, probably 6 books we haven't even seen by Lord knows who's going to write them that got something to say about what they think should happen, right? And that's fine, and that's fine. That's fine. But you know, let's get to the meat of some stuff, and also let's help some people. Let's create something that can be useful as possibly an educational tool. You know, everybody's privy to, oh, he was doing this and he did it. You know, yeah, we're all privy to the conversations we had and the shit that we were doing. But you know what? Unless you talk about that, you know, it's not going to mean anything. So I know where people have gone in and they've gotten a lot of information and they've skipped over some information that was in there as well. So I think it's just very evident that you know, we all have to kind of sit back and when it comes to this, you've got to understand that, you know, we're in a real world, man. We're in a real world, and he was one special dude, and he understood the collection of people that he had in orbit around him. And like I said, many celebrities and people who are gifted or doing something on a larger scale actively have great people around them who are good and sincere and honest, and they have great people around them who are good at being bad. And they take the collection of those good and bad people and they put them together, and it makes a team that you can really, when you can run them, you can make a lot of things happen. Because the good people are good at being good, and the bad people are good at doing what they do and instinctively always whipping up some bullshit. But the good people are so paranoid about always doing that they're going to check the bad people, right? And so, and this is just my experience. And if anybody thinks I'm paranoid and full of shit, then sorry. But you know, I just think that it's something that it's tactical. You know, you have the people around you have for a reason, and that's on every level. So while you could have somebody super efficient over here, you have somebody who's a great cook over there. You could have 1 or 2 guys over here who are there for nothing but street connections. Right, and everybody has seen this, but they might not want to say it, you know. So that's the real deal. That's the real deal, you know. But I think that overall, you know, I think we're going to see it will eventually calm down because again, it's hard to keep telling stories, right? When you keep telling stories, you got to keep track of the stories you tell, which is why some of the things we saw happen the first half of everybody getting things together wasn't working because there were a lot of stories going on. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, if you weren't there, you really don't know. You're just making some shit up. No matter if you're an attorney or whatever, it doesn't matter that you wear a suit and you walk into it. It doesn't matter. It means you know you got a bigger set of words, you know. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, the thing is, if these things were to have worked, they would have worked. But they didn't. And you have to ask yourself why. Because a large part of it is based on the truth. I think that's why when it comes to his music, it's easy to say, ooh, let's take some of his music and do this and do that. But when you go to take his music was touched by him, and it has that instinctive thing on it that you can't fake it.
Right.
Once it goes somewhere, that's something. That's him. That's his stamp, and that's part of why he was very intense on yeah, but I can do this. You know, he used to say that, yeah, but I can do this. This is what I do, right? You can't beat a do. Talking can't beat a do.
You say what? What did you just say?
Talking cannot beat a do.
Oh, okay. I thought you said a Jew. I was about to say, whoa. We didn't get our show shut down.
No, do, a D-O.
Okay. Be clear.
A lawyer's briefcase cannot beat a do. See, that's the reason why when everything goes legal and everybody tries to get all important, you know, somebody like him, it's unimpressive because you know why? All it's viewed as is you just trying to stop me from my due. My due is so strong, I'm just going to sing something. You watch, you do what you do, I do what I do, and let's see who applauds.
Right, right.
Right?
No, I feel you. Let me slice in on here on this one, Dave, because
Yeah.
some of what you may say may be, is it may be sort of coded language in terms of people don't know what you're talking about, and I know exactly
Oh, I'm
what you're
sorry.
talking
I
about.
don't want to.
But we
Okay.
going into
Go ahead, Sammy. Goddamn.
yeah. Let me let me pull my man back just a second and listen.
Yeah.
First of all, let me tell you. I always tell you this anyway, but we got my thing is you always got to do it in public. Let me give respect to you for everything that you have done for me, man, in terms of just like I said earlier, some mentorship, just some real conversation. Uh, Sometimes putting, you might not even know it, putting some pressure on me to make me do better. So I definitely appreciate just you doing
No
what you
problem.
do. Same with Scotty as well and Jackie. Definitely appreciate you guys for helping us out and making this thing grow. Man, we're gonna wrap things up here, but again, still want to get some more answers to your questions. So, where can people email you or find you online so they can continue that dialogue?
They can find me on Facebook at Dave Hampton on Facebook, or you can find me at they can get in touch with me through you. This is something you and I had talked about, so you and I will continue to talk about this and a bunch of other things. But I think for the purposes of how we kind of communicate, if they want to get a hold of you and say, yeah, let's do this, this is what I think, they can just send it to you, and we'll talk about it some more.
All right.
Again, I'm not saying because I'm going to do it all, and I'm not. I'm just saying it because I think it's about time we expand the conversation so that it includes everyone. I
Gotcha.
love what we do with the PR and alumni. Like I said, but when PR and alumni interfaces with everybody, that's when we really can get the full body of the community together. And I think that's what you're going to start to see everybody do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've talked about, and I just think it's healthier. It's just a healthier way to digest things and a healthier way to figure out how to move to be effective.
All right.
Move to be effective, because this whole thing is we're at a point where we all have to ask ourselves, as much as we love this, as much as we love what are we going to do with it? And we got to start to create some goals and do some stuff, and even just rise as we talk about stuff.
Okay.
Even when you see, the minute you see something and somebody wrote it and they're using that same style and all that stuff that they do when they write those articles, put it down. Just put it down. Don't even pass it on to nobody. Don't even repost it, because it's that same style that's meant to just divide.
Right. Yeah.
We got everybody moving on. Yeah.
Just go throw on some more of the Prince music. That's what got you here in the first place.
Throw on the Prince music, yeah. And go support some of these things. Get a Rosie T-shirt. Go get or go see MPG in whatever city they're in. Support the things that he was involved in when he was alive, and then that's cool. It just those other things become so minor. Even the thing of, we want to know what happened. Knowing what happened isn't gonna bring him back. It's not gonna bring him back. Okay, and so we have to say we got to end up with something else, and we got to do something in the spirit of what he would have if you were around him and what you learned.
All right.
That's the whole purpose of learning. Learning something when you're around somebody like that is how are you going to carry on in their absence.
For sure. Dave, we're gonna see you.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you in the flesh in April, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna do any magic tricks. I like your ad. You said Kim Berry and Dave Hampton making an appearance. I don't know what Kim's gonna do, but I'm not doing no magic.
Man, we'll have you do some live mixing, man. What you talking about?
I'm just gonna come hang. No, man. I'm just gonna come hang and.
Oh, we're just gonna break bread, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, but whatever anybody wants to do, I'm there for the event that's going on at the college, and but again, I just really enjoy spending time with everybody and being social and remembering things or just talking about anything they want to talk about. You know.
Yeah, we just gonna do it. It's gonna be like those who got to go to our sort of expanded dinner thing that we did back in
Yeah.
September. It'll be just like that, but bigger and more people, and just and have a good time. That's it. We're just gonna sit there and have a good time.
Yeah.
Dave, man, have a good one. Tell hello to them babies out here in the background. Y'all have a good day,
Say hi.
and we'll
Say
talk
hi,
to you.
Joe.
Oh, hello. That's what's up.
They're used to this. They're used to this. So, but yeah, and thank you to the young lady who asked me the question and anything else.
All right, Dave. I'm gonna holler at you later, sir. Thank you again.
Okay, man.
All
No
right.
problem.
Peace.
All right. Take it easy, guys. All right.
All right, man. Appreciate Big Dave Hampton coming on the show. Listen, we didn't. I forgot we have. We was talking to Dave so long. We also have.
Oh damn.
He said, "Oh, now we got jokes. Let's get the."
You see that, don't you?
Yeah, I was just about to introduce your black ass, but no. This is how we do ourselves. Anyway, the Mr. Aunt Pooh, sir, how you doing?
Hey man, come on! I'm just looking out for you.
You put me on blast in the chat room, but that's cool. Keep looking out for me. I got you.
That's all good. Great show, fellas. Great show. That was dope. And I'm loving these ideas the listeners are popping up. I would love to have those themed album celebrations.
Yeah, that would be dope, man. And again, shout out to Allison, Cassandra, One Sweet. What does that say? One sweet. Okay, all right now. Yeah, just shout out to everybody in here. Sometimes it's going a little fast, but I'm definitely seeing everybody. Do me a favor, type in your city where you're at right now in the chat, so we can see everybody we touch in different places. I don't always get to go around the world myself, but maybe I can sort of jump from chat to chat person to different cities and see where we're at. Y'all on that picking nose. I got you. I love it. And man, so I can tell you guys this. Hopefully, this evening. Okay, I see Chicago, the Shy, Montclair, NYC.
Oh, I think we're gonna have an LA meetup. Montclair at Dave
London, UK.
Claire's in London,
No.
UK, baby. All right.
Whoa, what was?
Shackadelic London, baby.
Whoa. All right. Wasn't Austin Powers? Jerome Powers. Let me stop. Bristol, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't never
Okay.
been in these places. Tampa,
Okay,
Long
we really
Beach.
have to have a LA meetup.
see
I
some
didn't know it was
of
this many
the
podcast
down
use listeners.
Hey, more shade. That's okay. Flint, Michigan, Phoenix. What I was gonna say. And keep putting them in there. I was gonna say we have an interview with Gail Chapman. That will probably. My man said, "Wakanda, I see you."
Hey, Atlanta.
Ha.
Yeah, Gail Chapman is gonna come out probably Sunday. It will go to our Patreon family first. Gotta do it because they hold us down. When somebody breaking bread with you or put money on your books, you service those people first. That's my mama and them told me that. So always gonna get down with Patreon. That's my family, and then probably another week or so, we'll put it out there for everybody as well. So definitely Gail Chapman coming. We got another one coming. I'm not gonna say who it is, and probably some of y'all not gonna know the name anyway. But he might be one of those secret weapon type of dudes that was in the background, but he has receipts. So it's gonna be a very interesting show. That'll be coming in a few weeks, and then I think we will also have Mr. Owen Hensey. We will have him on. His book is coming out, I think next month, matter of fact. So we're working that out. And then, of course, we're going to go to the celebration this year. So, we got our meet and greet. Then we'll be at all over town, just hanging out. So definitely, we're trying to do some things here. Norway. Whoa, 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 whoa. Olympia, Washington. I'm in Auburn, Washington. Man, okay, somebody in Washington finally. Let's see. But yeah, we're kind of going to the end point here. But is there anything anybody else on the panel want to talk about and bring up? Okay.
Yes, actually, yes. There was one thing I wanted to get from Dave, but maybe people can just chime in
More,
as they see
yes.
fit. From a technical question or standpoint, how do you think Prince and other large-scale musicians, how do you think they go about deciding what type of equipment to use? I can't see these cats just walking in the Guitar Center and saying, you know what, I'll take that one. Let me try this. Do they send their people out? Do they call the manufacturers directly, which is probably the case, and say, look, bring me a few things so I can test them out? What do you guys think?
That's a good question. I would think a lot of musicians, some of these cats are probably up on the latest tech. Well, and I would say some cats, I would imagine, I know when I was doing music and stuff, we were always like, what's the next thing popping that everybody's talking about? And you knew you had to go get it, whether it was a new drum machine or a new sampler or something like that. So I would imagine, I don't know, Prince per se, well, I can't speak on that, but I would imagine people in the band, I'd be surprised like a Morris Hayes be on the cutting edge of, yo, this is the new joint. And because you got to think, these guys was doing next level stuff with triggering the samplers with the loops, and then, triggering the other samples and going on, and he had the background vocals that was already pre-recorded in the back coming in, so they making sequences and all this. You can't just be on some, oh, here's the new SP 1200 6000, and you don't know how to use. Like, they gotta already be kind of wired for that. They geeked out on that music tech stuff. So I think that's a lot of it. I got a shout out. Yes, somebody said Morris Day. Man, listen, that would be the ultimate interview right there, man. Wouldn't that be right, Ampu?
Yes, indeed. It would be awesome.
Hopefully we can make that happen, right, Ampu?
God damn, it got hot in here.
Yeah, it did.
Right, turn the AC on.
Shout out to Morris Day. Yes, that would be awesome. And I do see you saying Kirk Johnson. Yes, I would love to interview Mr. Johnson. No doubt. All of that stuff, man. Morris, yes. Love all of them. I was going to say something I totally forgot. But go ahead. Anybody else want to ring in on Big Sexy's thing?
Well, he's not here, so I guess we're not in any trouble. I mean, him being Prince. But I saw that there was a new boot that dropped. Anybody had a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier when you weren't here.
Goddamn late pass.
Yeah. While I was picking my nose, we talked about that. Oh man. Yes, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, dream interviews. I'd be like, yo, we need 6 hours. 6 hours, because that's a lot of that. Larry, Sheila, all of them, man. Come on, I mean, all of them would be great.
Maite mentioned?
Maite. Yeah, I'll tell you a story about Maite. Nothing bad. Okay. But she was here in town recently. Shout out to Dave. And it was like, yo, we coming down, come holler. Yeah. Man, the day of that, she was doing her dance thing. Where I had some car problems and just like one of those where I couldn't make it to where they were, but they was right here in my town. But I just couldn't. I missed it, man. So one of them things. Just guess it wasn't meant to happen at that time. But yeah, shout out to Maite and Dave. They're gonna be in Minneapolis as well. So hopefully we can all link up and maybe we'll be able to do something, maybe not. But yeah, definitely, I am a Maite supporter. For all. Oh, and I also want to do a shout out. I don't know if she's still in here. Meeling. Shout out to Meeling. Man, y'all was going hard on the comments on her video. I never did speak about that. But good Lord. Come on, y'all. It's serious, but it's not that serious. But either way, I appreciate everybody watching that videos. It's so funny. It's videos like that that probably got more comments and views than some of the other ones. I'd be like, man, we got such and such right here. You don't want to talk to this person? Y'all not watching this one, but y'all going in on it. So anyway,
Mm.
all right. I think we are coming to a close. I'm gonna give a few more minutes to people in the chat um, to get in and say what's up. And again, very much appreciate you. I think we had a great live stream today. I was up till 2 this morning trying to figure this mess out, and I think we did okay. And thank Dave for
I
coming
do
on. Go
want
ahead.
to say, just like while we're wrapping up the celebration week, to piggyback what you were saying earlier, the time in Minnesota or Minneapolis in the area, it's like you're in a different world where time doesn't really exist, and Prince is on the radio 24/7 with interviews from people in his camp. Um, like everybody you see, like a random person with a purple shirt on, and you smile and wave like they're really family members. It's such a really magical, like crazy time. So even if you don't get to go to celebration, definitely still go to some of those other events because it's just really hard to explain the amount of love that's there. And then like when you leave, it's like you miss it, and it just feels almost depressing because the bubble of love is so strong there. So definitely check it out if you can. And I'll be VIP track two. So shout out to those people. And it was a fun time last year. Even if this is your first time for celebration, get ready, bring handkerchiefs or tissues because you probably will be crying at least 3 times a day. It's very intense, but it's also very cathartic and healing. So looking forward to it.
All right, definitely. And shout out to everybody, Sandra. Thank you. All you guys, man, really appreciate it. We're going to get up out of here. I got to get rolling. Before we go, Big Sexy, where can they find you online, sir?
Where can you find me? Well, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter under WSE Market on the 25th. Yes, again, I'm going to be showing up in Oakland at Dwayne's book signing in at a place called Legionnaire. He doesn't know this, but I'm showing up.
Bogart, you going to pull up on him. What's now? You said something in your book crazy. What up? Uh-oh. All right. And, I know what I was going to say. Somebody said in the chat we should get Mink Slide. Listen. It's time. I would love to have Tyreek on here. It'd be hilarious. Anyway, and Pooh, where can I find you?
Twitter and Instagram at Pooh, as well as on YouTube at the QA podcast I'm doing with my co-host Mariah. God damn, so many M's.
Wow! Shout out to Mariah. You don't even know her name. Co-host. Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think.
As corny and wild as I thought that Mink Slide video was, I cannot get that goddamn song out of my head. Every time I turn around, I'm still, it's time
to be a descendant.
I'm just like, damn it, Tariq.
Hey, you gotta salute him, man. He's doing his thing. Kanisa, where can I find you?
Twitter and Tumblr at Darling Nisi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please check us out. Go to our Patreon page. Support what we do. You could just do $1. Who can't afford $1, right? But you do get the podcast early. You get some exclusives on there. And you just help us do our thing so we can keep doing this thing on a high level. If you don't want to go in there, that's cool too. But we'd appreciate it if you do. Again, I appreciate all of you that are on here right now taking the time out of Saturday to watch this and be here with us, and salute to those who watch this later. I know your time is important, so I'm very appreciative of you spending time listening to us talk. That is never going to be taken for granted. Hey, we got to get up out of here. Work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.